Hey, what's good, family? My name is Ray Morgan, and every week, and as always, I'm joined by my beautiful co-host.
Hi, I'm Rotunda Morgan.
And you're tuned into another episode of
Living More with the Morgans.
And you guys, this one, as you can see from all the red, all the beautiful things that's accompanying us, this is for the lovers. This is strictly for the lovers. You know how we do, and it's red, and it's romantic, it's sexy, because this one, you guys, is the love show. And I'm gonna be in my Barry White mode all episode long. My baby looking good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You're looking handsome.
Thank you, honey. Thank you.
Absolutely. Red is beautiful on you.
It's beautiful on you. Every color is beautiful on you.
Thank you.
Already. I mean, we can cut this camera off right now. What's up with it?
See how you do, you guys.
So, you guys, this is the love show, and we want to bring this to you guys because this week we're celebrating Valentine's Day. And if you haven't already booed up with your loved one, with your significant other, with your spouse, you need to go ahead and do that. You need to go ahead and get them flowers. You need to do something special, but not just today. You need to do that every day. Every day needs to be a love day. And so, you guys, we've got a special one for you guys, and we're going to have some fun today because sometimes we have some very just very spirited conversations about things that's going on in the world, things that's going on in society. But today we're going to have a little fun. And what we're going to do, you guys, is we're going to bring you into our world. We're going to be transparent. We're going to be candid about how we met, about how we hooked up, how we've dated, and marriage, really about all the things that we've gone through, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the beautiful. And so, you guys, we got a fun one for you guys today. As always, we want you to invite other people in to watch this episode. And if you haven't already, go ahead and share this and hit that subscribe button there at the bottom. We want you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can find us everywhere on social media, but hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon so you can get notifications every time we are on YouTube. And every time we post a new short or a video, you'll be the first one to know. And as always, you can follow us on our social media platforms. You guys, we're all over social media. We're on Facebook. We're on X. We're on Instagram. We're on Pinterest. What else we on, babe? We on Threads. We on all that stuff.
We're on everything.
You can find us everywhere. Just hit and search Living More with the Morgans, and you'll definitely find us on there. And as always, you can visit our website directly at www.livingmorewiththemorgans.com. And there you can find everything about us. And then also, if you don't have an opportunity to really watch our podcast, you can always listen to us. You can pop in them earbuds, and when you're on that treadmill, you're getting your workout in, you can be listening to Living More with the Morgans. And so you can hit us up on Pandora. We're on Amazon. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on iHeartRadio. You can tune into Living More with the Morgans, and you can find us just about everywhere. And so, you guys, again, this is the love show. Babe, how you feeling? It's the sexy episode. We keeping it sexy and sultry right now.
I feel good.
You feel good?
Yeah.
After the broadcast, we gonna do that thing that you talked about, right? That you talked about.
What thing?
You know what I'm saying? That you said we was going after the broadcast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know who you talking about.
No, she know what we're talking about. She be trying to be all innocent for y'all. She trying to be all innocent with that old pretty voice and everything for y'all. But when this camera go off, that East Texas comes out. So, yeah.
I'm a good girl.
Oh, yeah. She a good girl. Yeah. And so, you guys, what we want to do today, like I said, we want to, really kind of bring you into our world. Yeah. And a lot of people have asked us, man, how did y'all meet? How did this come to be? And if you guys don't know, my wife and I, we're 13 years apart. And so she's the cougar. I'm the cub. Now, I didn't know cougars played with cubs, but apparently they do. At least mine does. And so,
look, I'm not on America's Most Wanted, so I'm not that kind of cougar.
Well,
come on now.
You wouldn't on the prowl.
You pursued me.
Hold on.
You pursued me.
Okay.
See, he want to trip. He's tripping.
Okay, now
he pursued me.
We're gonna get to the nitty gritty of this in the real, like we always do. We're gonna come with the real and the truth here. because
we are.
we know how y'all cougars do, y'all older women. But no, you guys, we are 13 years apart.
Yes.
And it's funny because when we tell people that, or they ask that, they're like, we would have never seen that. Like, you guys look the same age, and my wife has totally aged gracefully and beautifully. And so and it's funny because man, it's been over 20 years that I've known you.
Yes.
And we met in church.
We did.
And I was playing at this church. I was one of the musicians at this church.
Yes.
And you know what, you guys, though, it's funny. Before I really jump into the meat of our story, just speaking about church, we recently had a good friend of ours that went home to be with the Lord. And she passed earlier this week, and her name was Sammy Love Jones. And before we really get into the show, we want to pay a short tribute to our good friend that has departed, Sammy Love Jones. Don't go nowhere. Stay tuned. We'll be right back right after this tribute to our friend. Last Sunday morning, we experienced the tragic passing of a good friend, Sammy Love Jones. Now, to all those who had an opportunity to know Sammy was to love Sammy. And she was a dear friend to my wife since they were kids. And in losing her recently, we honor her memory, we honor her legacy, and the love that she left to her family members, to her son, to her husband Clyde, and to countless friends and family members that she left not only her love, but her creativity. Yes, Sammy was a creative, and boy, was she creative. Highly talented, super thoughtful, incredibly generous. And honey, if you have anything to say, you knew her 10 times better than I did.
Sammy was everything you just described. Loved, generous, caring, kind. There's not one person that met Sammy did not love her and had a encounter with her that was different for all of us. We grew up together. Her sister is my best friend. They've just also lost their mom 2 years ago, and a half years ago, when we lost our parents. So Sammy was also a client of mine at one point. I trained her, and she was a sister. The family and I are extremely close. Again, we grew up together. We grew up around each other. We've known each other for more than 50 plus years. So we're going to miss her. We're going to honor her by living and doing the things that we're created to do on this earth. So Sammy, we're going to miss you. We miss you. We love you. And we know that you are with the Lord and with your mom and your dad and some other family members. And we just want to let the love in Jones family know how much the McDowell and Morgan family love you. We're here for you. We're praying for you. This is a tough time for all of us, but we're all believers, and we know that God has her in the palm of his hands.
And we're going to get through it together. That's what family does. That's what love does. And so, Sammy, we know you're with the Lord. She was an ordained minister of the gospel.
Yes.
And like I said, she was a creative. Now, I can say that I even helped her a little bit with that.
Yeah.
We love you, Sammy.
We love you, Sammy.
And we love the family. To the Love family and the Jones family, we send our sincere condolences. God bless you. All right, you guys, and we're back with Living More with the Morgans. And Sammy, we love you.
Love you, Sam.
And we're going to miss you, but we already know you're in the best place. You're in the greatest place, and you're with the Lord and Savior. And so to her family, to her friends, to her close loved ones, we send our sincere condolences on the loss of our friend, Sammy Love Jones. This is befitting because Sammy Love, and this is the love episode. And so we can't help but talk about love, and we can't help but shout out love about our friend that has gone on to be with the Father, who is the ultimate example, the epitome of love itself. And that is why we can even have a day like Valentine's Day or a season like this to express love. And it is definitely befitting, and it's not coincidence. And so shout out to Sammy and the Love family as well. And we are praying you guys' strength through this, that you guys would come together even more. And whatever we can do, my wife and I, of course, we will definitely be there to help and support the family in any way that we can.
Because we're family too.
We're family.
Yeah.
We're family. Yeah. And, you know, to say that, you know, you grew up with them, and you growing up with the family, I met them, of course, through you and through our relationship. And then once we got married, you know, the bond started getting even closer. Yeah. And so they, I think from the get-go, they embraced me, you know, as family.
Yes.
You know,
absolutely.
all of them.
Yes.
All of them.
Right.
And so some, you know, I haven't been as close with, you know, some of the family members, but for the most part, the Love family that I encountered and was around, they embraced me with open arms. Absolutely. And so I'm totally appreciative of their family. And so shout out to the Love family. And this is the Love Day. This is the Love episode, you guys, and we're going to get into it. And so as we were saying, we met in church.
We did.
And we were not looking for each other.
No.
like by no stretch of the imagination.
Not at all.
And the thing of it is, you know, and I definitely want you to jump in and tell your side. I met you at church. I was one of the musicians at church. And I had served at this church, I think about 3 years. Mm-hmm. And I had played at churches before. This church was a Baptist, all Black Baptist church. So it was different for me, right? It was different for me. I had gone to more multicultural churches prior to then. And I played for a multicultural church here in Dallas. But coming here, it was all Black folks. And it was all, you know, kind of, you know, Southern gospel or gospel, you know, that we were doing. Mm-hmm. And what was funny, you know, I was just always myself, right? So I came in, I didn't do suit and tie and stuff like that. And this was 20 years ago, fam. This is early 2000s. So I'm coming in with my hair, you know, swinging, bobbing in the wind. I'm coming in with, you know, my bracelets and my chokers and my earrings and my bell bottoms and all this different stuff. But that was just me. That's just, you know, just what I did. And I still do. Like, that's still, you know, a part of me. That's just my style, and that's how I was raised and how I grew up. So when I came to church like that, you know, it was kind of, you know, it put off some people. It kind of rubbed some people the wrong way. Mm-hmm. But with you, I don't think it rubbed you the wrong way.
No, it did initially.
Okay.
Yeah, initially when I saw you, I'll never forget. I'm like, man, his hair looked better than my hair. It was bouncing in the wind. I'm like, wow. But I was like, okay, who is this? You know, mm-hmm. I'm thinking you didn't even think you were from Dallas, Texas. I mm-hmm. thought you were from like Chicago or some area like that. I think I told you that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so when I saw you, you know, I was like, okay, well, you know, they got a new musician, and, you know, I'm thinking, you know, you look so much like what I grew up around,
Mhm.
all of the, the musical groups that I knew, Earth, Wind, and Fire, and all of that. So, Prince and the Revolution and all of that. So
Right.
it fazed me at first, but then I was like, well, okay, well, let's go with it. Let's
Yeah.
rock with it.
Right.
So,
Right.
it was, but I just saw you as
One of the musicians.
one of the musicians, part of the group,
Right.
and I didn't think anything of it. It wasn't like it was just like love at first sight or anything,
Right.
because I was just coming out of a marriage
Mhm.
and stuff, so I was just trying to raise my daughter.
Right. Right.
So.
And that's, and you say that because I think a lot of people think, well, when you first see, a lot of young people or single people think when you first see that, that woman or that guy, you're going to know that that's the one. That wasn't the case
That
for
wasn't the
us.
case.
That wasn't the case. And so we actually, we went to church, you sang in the choir,
Right.
and I played. And there was a time I think we had, there was a secret Santa or something at the church.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. Now, you
gonna let me tell that part.
I'm gonna let you tell that. I'm gonna let you go there. But the thing of it is that I was coming out of a relationship with a young lady that I had dated in
Right.
Hawaii.
Yeah, that's right.
And honestly, and I believe I dated her for about 2 years. And so I'm thinking, when I met her in Hawaii, I'm thinking, I was young and it was exotic and all these different things. And in my mind, I'm thinking, yo, this is the one, right? And so I brought the young lady to Dallas, and I think it was there that I saw that I was wanting more long-term relationship than she was wanting. I think for her, it was like, I'm finally off of this tiny island. I've gotten over here to the States, and she wanted to, to live and do her thing. And I was already past that mentally, even though I was young.
Right.
I was already kind of past, like, I didn't, I wanted to go ahead and find the one and settle down and start setting up for family and everything. She wasn't on that tip, right? And and that was her thing, because she was young. We were both young. But I think for me, when we broke up, I was it was a funky time, because I remember a prophetess. I didn't know what a prophet was. Around 2003, her name was Prophetess Desmarie Peters. Rest in peace to Prophetess Peters. But I didn't know what a prophet was. I didn't know what apostolic was. I used to say the word apostolic. I didn't even know what I was saying. But this woman read my email without the password. I mean, she called me up and she told me about you before you were even in the picture.
Wow.
And I believe I had just broken up with the girl in Hawaii. And when she told me that, she said, you're concerned about your wife and all this different stuff. And again, I'm 20 something. I'm 22, 21, 22 years old, something like that. She told me, God has your wife already made up for you. And I remember her specifically. She said, she's beautiful. She's going to be everything you want, so forth and so on. Don't even worry about that. She's going to love you. She's going to back you. She's going to have your back and everything. And this woman, I mean, she read my life. I didn't think much about it, though, honestly, because of just where I was with life at that time. And the young lady that I broke up with, she went her way. We still stayed cordial and everything, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
And here I am at the church and I'm playing. And now, to be very honest and very frank, I was wilding out, right? I was soiling my wild oats. I'm being promiscuous, and and the ladies, they would look in my direction and different things that, and I knew that. And so, what do you do as a young man, that's trying to find his way in the dark, trying to find out who he is in this world where now the ladies are looking my direction, right? I'm coming into who Landa is,
right? And
I'm starting to see that, oh, okay, I'm getting that attention that I didn't used to get, right? I'm getting that, I'm developing that confidence and that swag that I didn't always have when I was younger. And so with that came stupid choices, being promiscuous, and no slight to the young ladies that I was promiscuous with, but I didn't, honestly, I didn't have anybody to tell me you're wrong in doing this, right?
Yeah.
And so, to be honest, I could go to the club Saturday night, cut it up, take a girl home Saturday night, and Sunday morning, I'm going to church and I'm playing.
Right.
And I'm not thinking nothing about the spiritual ramifications of this. I'm not thinking of any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, yo, this is what I do. You look my direction and you find, okay, you finna get that, right? And I say that to be honest and transparent because I want people who are watching to understand that every time when God brings something together, everything is not going to be this perfect union, if you will, or this perfect experience.
Right.
Sometimes somebody's going to be broken, or coming out of something broken.
Yeah.
As you and you'll tell your side of it.
Yeah.
And so I was broken when I met you, not just coming out of this relationship that I thought was going to be something long term, but at the same time, I was broken in the fact that my soul was broken, my spirit was broken, and trying to find who I was as a man was the enemy throwing things at me that I thought, this is what that is. Right. But it was killing me on the inside. Wow. When this woman prophesied to me, it gave me so much peace that my wife would be who she said she would be, that I totally just I didn't dismiss it, but I didn't harp on it. Right. I wasn't concerned about it. Right. Once she told me that, and because I trusted this woman because she had told things about me that nobody would have known. Right. And so fast forward to meeting you. Now, I had played at the church for a while, and I think the musicians were introduced to all the choir members and everything.
That's right.
And I remember specifically when I got to you that I said, oh man, she's got a beautiful smile. She's got beautiful teeth. And that's all I didn't think nothing else, right? When I looked at you, I was like, oh man, she's beautiful. She got beautiful teeth. And that was the end of it. It was nothing like when I looked at you and saw you, I was like, oh yeah, and the angels are coming in, and and Cupid didn't shot his arrow in the back of my neck. No, it wasn't none of that, Right. So a lot of people think, oh, when you meet the one, you're going to know. I didn't know. Right. I honestly didn't know, and I don't think you knew either.
No, I mean, when our minister of music said, we want our band and our choir to be tight, tight knit, and when we did do that introducing of one another, I remember it. And I remember, and I don't know if you remember this, but when you did say that to me, you said, oh, you're beautiful and you have beautiful teeth. It's like time stood still. And you held my hand for so long because I reached out to shake it. You held my hand so long until one of the young ladies that I'm a soprano, so she was a soprano too, and she literally said, "Okay, break it up."
So I don't remember that.
Yeah, okay, She said, "Break it up. Let me introduce myself."
Okay.
So I remember that.
Wow.
And it's just like things. It was like we were inside of a bubble, and everyone was on the outside. And the time stopped just for that, I don't know, moment. And I was like, what was that?
Yeah.
Again, after that, we didn't really talk or anything. We didn't talk. We didn't say anything to each other.
Right.
You know, and I don't know if you want me to tell this, but
yeah, you can tell
okay. And then I remember we had a 3:00 service. I don't remember how long later that was after we were introduced to one another.
Hold on, babe. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna fix your mic.
Okay. I don't know how long after that we were introduced to one another, that we had a 3:00 service to go to. Remember, our pastor had to actually minister at another church, and he
Okay.
wanted his full choir.
Okay.
You know, so we all would go,
Which was often.
which was often, yeah, it's like every Sunday,
Every other Sunday, yeah.
And so I remember this particular church was our pastor's brother's church. Okay, and you were carrying your keys, your keyboard, and you had it in your case, and you were carrying it, and you walked by. I was getting in my car. Service was over. I was getting in my car, and I remember saying to you,
"Oh yeah,
because you had your head down, you were walking, you know, and you looked like something was bothering you." And I said, "Oh, women problems, huh?" And then you looked at me like, "Huh?" And we began to talk from there. And when people say, "And it was history," after that, it really was.
It was history, right? Yeah, I remember that vaguely. Where I was walking to the car with the keyboard, and I was putting it in my trunk.
Yeah.
And I walked past you, and you said, women problems, huh?" And I looked at you, and it was like, what? Like, how did she know that? And I went and put my keyboard up in the trunk, and I think I walked over to your car, and there were some people. If I remember correctly, I think it was one of the gentlemen that Stanley. Yeah. He was he was there.
He was trying to wave.
Yeah. Hey, he's trying to distract me and talk to me, and I'm like, bro,
we were in the midst of a deep conversation.
Right. And so I think from there we exchanged numbers, and then when did I call you though?
Wednesday. You said
so it was a Sunday after church when we exchanged numbers,
right?
And I didn't call till Wednesday.
You didn't call till Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday. No, you're right. Well, no, it was Tuesday. You called me Tuesday. You said you would call me Monday.
Okay.
But you didn't. And I said, okay, well, he wasn't interested,
Right.
Just,
you thought I wasn't interested?
Yeah. So I just let it go. I didn't even think anything really too much of that, but you called.
Right.
Yeah, you called. And
I don't know what the holdup was then. I don't even remember why I wouldn't have called on Monday. Honestly,
I'm not sure. And, we haven't, till this day, we've never discussed that.
Right.
So, we talked for hours.
I remember our conversations being real long.
Yeah, very long.
And, I remember, and we had things in common.
Yeah.
But we also had two, backgrounds that really contrasted with one another. Me being the city boy, I'm being from Oak Cliff, you being from East Texas.
Right.
Country girl,
right?
And so it was weird because it was like, again, I wasn't looking for you,
right?
And we've said this. I've said this. That at that time I was super skinny, right? I had this big old head, all this hair, and I was super skinny. Where I remember you used to lay on my chest, and my chest was bony than you. It would hurt you to lay your head on.
I was thicker.
Yeah, and you were thicker. You were thicker. You were heavier at the time.
I was.
And I can remember, and this is no slight to you because you've always been beautiful, but I wasn't looking for, and this is what I want people to understand, right? I wasn't, I had never dated a thicker, heavier woman. But I had dated older women before. I was always attracted to older women, and I was attracted to older women because the conversations that you all had was deeper. And I think
because we've lived a little bit.
You lived a little bit, right? And I was always told that I was an old soul, and so young girls didn't have a conversation for me, right? They was always, oh, I'm trying to get me a baller, I'm trying to get me a thug, and I'm just like, and I wasn't no baller and I wasn't no thug, right?
You were a musician.
I was a musician,
a producer.
Yeah, I was weird and artsy and all that. So a lot of young girls totally wasn't feeling me, and so and then and I'll say this, it was also my style. I used to have young girls tell me like, oh, I can't be with you because your hair too long and your hair prettier than mine.
Yeah.
They would literally tell me that. Yeah. And so my style was like, it was Prince and, James Brown and Lenny Kravitz and all that. And so I think a lot of young girls didn't understand it because, of course, during our time, the what was in was the thugs, the roughnecks, right?
Right.
And so if you wasn't sagging and you wasn't rocking, white tees and your hat backwards and all this different stuff, females wouldn't, I'm from Oak Cliff, so they sure wouldn't look in my direction.
But see, for me, I grew up in the 70s and 80s,
right,
90s. So for me, the bands and the, Prince was in my time,
right,
Michael Jackson and all of that, and just looking at Earth, Wind and Fire, the Mac Band and all these different bands and stuff, they were all artsy. They were wearing their long hair and all of that. So I was accustomed to. I mean, I grew up on Soul Train. Soul Train was the lick, like they say. It is. So it was like all these different bands and all these different groups and stuff that came together. When we saw that, we didn't think anything of it. It wasn't a big deal. But something that you did leave out is that when you were saying that these girls weren't, was telling you this, yeah, they were, but at the church we were going to, okay, that was like the second church when I moved to North Texas. That was the very second church that I found. I was going to another church previously for a little bit, and it just wasn't something that I guess I was, something that I was interested in, things I didn't like there. So I remember a friend of mine that was from East Texas too. Her father, he's not her father, uncle, had a church out here, and he would fellowship with the church that we were at. And so she was like, why don't you go to this church? Why don't you go here, since we all, we're moving to, to North Texas. I said, okay, that was the second church. So I was supposed to be at that church at that time.
Wow.
It's just funny how God did that. And I know you talk about how, artsy you were and everything, but baby, if you don't remember, these girls, let me say this. I'm going to say this, and I mean this. I've never seen anything like it. These women, it was young girls, older women were falling over you. Literally. Yeah, you remember. We couldn't even get into church. I mean, someone will run you smooth smack over trying to get in the back where the choir, so we can go and come together and pray and put our robes on. I mean, we'll just run you flat over. And I'm like, what is going on with you guys? and then again, we, during that time we had like exchanges when it came to Christmas and stuff. And so we would do Secret Santa, and I think it was what do you call it? The white, what do you call it? The white elephant.
Oh, I don't know.
That's what it's called when it's secret, like you pull somebody's name and they don't know that you got their name. It's called white elephant or something like that. And one young lady, and she wasn't young, she was older, and she was looking around the room trying to, do you have a so-and-so? I said, no, I don't have it. I'm trying to find him because I'm trying to exchange gift for him. I was like, what's going on? And I saw the phenomenon of all these women and girls, and what is wrong with you guys? Oh, he fine. Oh my God. Oh, he fine. Oh, you guys, you should. If I could have videoed that. And at the same point in time, it got on my nerves. Because again, I wasn't interested like that in you. I just came out of a marriage. Well, I've been out of the marriage, but I wasn't looking for anyone at that particular time. So just to see all of that, transpire was just like, what is going on? Right. And then, not to mention, I'll let you tell this, but fast forward, we end up coming together, hooking up, and everybody was so mad. Those girls were, because it was like, it wasn't about, I was there to get the word. I was there to, sing. I love singing. I love being in the choir and stuff, and I was there about that. So,
and I think that, and and it's funny because you've told me that side of your your perspective of the story, many times, and that is the case. But I think the thing is, you know, I knew what I was already searching for, and then I had gotten that prophecy,
Mm.
so I was looking for that, you know, and no disrespect to the other young ladies and the women that, you know, were attracted to me and everything. When I was promiscuous, I was looking to see if they were that.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm
Yeah, I
saying?
do. I do.
And so intimacy with them, sex with them was almost a part of the litmus test, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
to see if, oh, okay, are you the one? Are you the one? Are you the one? Now, that's not to say I wasn't, you know, I wasn't being a young man and doing my thing, because I was, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in our society, that's applauded,
Right.
unfortunately.
Unfortunately,
It's, oh, you ain't no real man if you ain't out here slinging pipe, right?
Right.
And you ain't doing this, and you ain't got a
Mm-hmm.
baddie, you know, over here on this
Mm-hmm.
arm and in this arm. And so
and us, if we were doing it, we would consider
hoes.
Yeah.
Y'all was some hoes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
For us, it's a badge of honor as
Yeah.
men.
And for us, it's not.
And for women, it's not.
It's
right.
frowned upon, right?
And so for me at that time, I knew that. I knew that there were ladies that were attracted to me, and I knew I was different.
Yeah.
Right. I knew that my style was different, and I think I had, and you've told me this, so I can say this. I had this mystique about me.
You do. You still do.
You know, because it was just how my parents raised me. My parents raised me to express myself in the arts, and how I wore my clothes and how I wear my hair and everything like that.
Right.
And so and I understand that that's not for everybody.
That's
And
right.
I knew that. And so I remember I had my partners back in the day. My boys used to tell me, bro, you ain't gonna marry no black woman. I mean, they used to tell me that, like, you ain't gonna marry no black woman, because ain't no black woman. They felt like a black woman wouldn't want me.
Wow.
Because they thought you too weird. They like, bro, you too artsy, you too weird, you too flamboyant or whatever. And it was like, you're not gonna marry no black woman. They always told me I was gonna marry a white girl. And so when I was in high school, I dated, you know, girls, you know, different ethnicities and stuff. But my heart, honestly, was always for a sister. Always. My mama is a black woman.
Right.
You know, nothing against Latinas, nothing against, you know, white women, nothing against them. I had relationships with those different ethnicities of women. But in my heart of hearts, I always knew I'm a be with a black woman. Right. My children are going to be black children. But I also had this fear that would I find one that would love me for me and understand me. And so when the prophet gave me the word that God had my wife already set up for me, I felt that he did, but I also felt like, well, God, where are you going to find a young woman that's going to understand me? Because again, all the young girls my age, they didn't have that intellectual capacity for me. If you know what I'm saying?
I do.
And it's not that, you know, they wasn't fine and they didn't have all the physical that I liked. That was cool. But that intellectual, mental capacity, they just didn't have. Mm-hmm. So I gravitated, even, you know, in high school, I gravitated towards older women, and because the conversations were better. Quite honestly, the intimacy was better with an older woman, because they didn't look at things as, oh, that's nasty. Well, if that's nasty, then why are you here? You know, and I'm just being honest, you know, with you guys, is that I thought like that. Like, if that's nasty, or I ain't doing that, okay, then what are we here for? Right. You know, right. And so I was always looking for that compatibility. Finding you, I had no idea. I wasn't thinking, you know, and I remember writing a 4-page letter to God. I still have it. Yes. And I wrote a 4-page letter to God, and I said, Lord, this is what I would want in a wife, not in a woman, a wife.
Did you write that before Prophetess Peters?
I don't remember, honestly.
Okay.
I don't remember. But I wrote that 4-page letter, and it was what I wanted in a wife physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. And I wanted her to be a good mother. I wanted her to be a good nurturer. But when it got, I mean, I'm just being honest, family, when it got to in sexually, and I wrote, and it was rated X to God, for real. And it was that way because I remember telling God, I said, God, if I can't be 100% with you, who can I be 100 with?
Right.
If you know my heart, you know my tendencies, you know my ways, you know everything about me. I need this woman to have all of this. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
And I wrote it down, and I was explicit, and I'm talking about from cup size to she's got to be vocal during sex. She can't be one of the ones that's quiet. I mean, I laid it out because, and I'm saying this because, and I'm sharing this because in my sin, I knew how detailed and specific I was, right? In my promiscuity, I knew, okay, if and I hate to come across as vulgar, but we keep it real here on Living More with the Morgans. If she didn't throw that thing the way I wanted her to throw it when I was in sin, then why would I settle in marriage?
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
That's right.
And so, but I want people to understand it wasn't about just the sexual stuff that my wife could do in marriage.
Right.
But as a young man, when you're in your 20s, you're thinking about
right.
that. You're thinking about that sexual compatibility that I'm going to have with this woman for the rest of my life. Yeah. So let's not get religious here and be like, oh, well, it's about, can she pray? And, and does she really love the Lord? Man, I wouldn't think about none of that. How's she tossing that thing? Right.
Right.
So,
But God was thinking about all that.
And God, I'm glad you interjected that, because God was thinking about, son, I know what you need.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Apart from what you think your flesh wants.
Right.
I know what you need.
I know what you need
Spiritually. I know what you need emotionally. And so when you're 20 something years old and you're young, you're not thinking, oh, I'm going to need this kind of wife. I'm going to need this and this and this. You're not thinking, oh, I'll receive favor when I meet you're not thinking none of that in your 20s.
No, of course not.
You're thinking about you, what's going to please your flesh. So a lot of the things that I wrote down were things that I felt would please my flesh and settle my flesh in marriage. Right?
Right.
In doing that, I always told you, and you've never seen the list.
No, I haven't.
You've never seen it.
No, I haven't. He's never shown.
And you probably won't. But I've told you, you are 80%, if not more, of what I put on that list. You are that to a T.
Wow.
You are that to a T. So when that Prophetess Peters, shout out to Prophetess Peters in heaven, when that prophet told me God had my wife already prepared and ready for me, and that she was going to be everything that I wanted and needed, she was 100%. 100%. I'm not saying this just because I'm sitting across from you and we're on this show. I've told you this.
Yes.
She was absolutely 100% right. The 80%, I say 80% because the 20% are fleshly things, are fleshly desires that if I look back on that list, God knew I didn't need that. Or God said, okay, are you going to throw away the 80% for the 20% that you didn't get? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And some people do that. Unfortunately,
they
will throw away a whole 80% more for the 10, 15, 20% that they didn't get.
Right.
And then wonder why they're miserable.
Right. And I know, I'm sure that part of that 20% is also that I am older, because, we've talked about that. We spoke about that a lot, is that I'm older than you are. And so you weren't necessarily looking for older, like 13 years older, but I think now that, and you have to, speak for yourself, but I think now you understand now why God put us
Oh,
together,
absolutely.
and why it is the age gap it is. Because the funny thing, you guys, is that I'm 13 years older than he is, and he's 13 years older than our daughter.
Yep. Yep.
And our birthdays are both on, it's the 5th. So he's January the 5th. I'm May the 5th.
Yes.
So
there's so many spiritual things,
right,
that I wasn't thinking about, didn't make the list, didn't even put on the list, didn't even know to put on the list.
Yeah.
But God knew what I needed and what she needed.
Right.
And so I want to dig more into that, and I'm gonna go even a little bit more deeper. We're gonna break this thing
because we gotta kind of tell them a little bit more how we met.
We're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it. So you guys don't go nowhere. We'll be right back after this quick break. Living More with the Morgans. Stay tuned.
Today, people and business owners have a ton of options to choose from. When it comes to web developers, graphic designers, social media marketing, branding, and the list goes on. And that might not be such a good thing. What if there was one company that you and your business could trust that could provide all these services at prices that won't eat up your business capital before it gets off the ground? From logo design, branding, custom website development, hosting, social media marketing, print media design, and more. Infusion does it all under one roof with a team of professionals that are just a phone call away. Infusion Design Solutions, the infusion of exceptional design and affordability. Visit us online at infusion.com.
All right, you guys, we're back with more Living More with the Morgans, and thank you for staying tuned with us.
Yes, and thank you.
You guys, we've been really kind of talking, about how we met and how we are where we are today because of our encounter, over 20 years ago. And so, we were talking about how I was, coming out of a relationship. I had wrote God a 4-page letter of what I wanted in a wife. I met you, and it was not the ideal encounter, right?
Yeah.
It was not the love at first sight. It was, and like I said, it wasn't that you weren't beautiful and you weren't attractive, but there was, in my head, there was a particular look, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
There was a particular, I thought, okay, my wife is going to look like this, and she's going to be like this, and she's going to be, 5 foot, such and such pounds, blah, 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 blah. And I'm sure you thought the same thing. I'm sure you had some things, you had your own checklist in your mind,
mm-hmm.
and that's okay.
It's okay,
right?
Yeah, right.
And so I think that we both had these checklists. We both had, you were coming out of a marriage.
Yes.
I was just coming out of dating someone. So that's two totally different kinds of heartbreak, two different levels of heartbreak.
Absolutely.
And so, and then, of course, you had a daughter at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for me as a young man, I'm having to say, if I want this woman in my life, I can't omit the daughter.
Right.
Right?
Right.
The daughter has to become a part of my life just as much as she does. And that was funky.
Yes, it was. It was turbulent.
Yeah.
It really was.
Because as a man, and like I said, in my younger 20s, I'm thinking in my mind, well, do I want that?
Right.
Right? Do I want to, I want this woman. I'm dating this woman, but do I want the responsibility that comes with being this man in this young girl's life?
And in the same token, I was concerned with, because you were younger and you exemplified those characteristics in some areas, I was concerned about were you ready for that? And if this would be something that you would want, because um, coming out of something in a marriage in the way it wasn't a good it wasn't good. How all of it broke up, or how we broke up. It wasn't good. It wasn't good for my daughter, so our daughter. And I was very cautious of that. And I personally, and I've told you this is not a secret, I knew you weren't ready for me yet in that area, because I needed somebody that was mature enough to be able to handle having a child around. She was not she, to this day, she's still the same kid. She's grown, but she's very sweet, very loving, very caring, but she is mommy's baby. And she's cautious, and she wants me to be, she wants me to be happy. So all of this played a factor, just like it did for you. Is you were thinking the same as far as, hey, am I ready for this? And I'm thinking, is he ready? Because I don't think you were ready. And that is one of the reasons why, and I don't know if we can say this now, but why we didn't get married within a year or two. I needed to.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I think people need to know that, because no, I wasn't ready. Right. I wasn't ready. And I think at that stage in my life, I'm thinking about what do I need to do to set up for my family.
Right. And I wasn't ready either.
Right. And so, and I would even tell you this, and I remember this would kind of hurt your feelings, is that I would tell you, I said, babe, I'm focused. It's not that I didn't, when we started dating,
right.
I would tell you, I said, babe, it's not that I don't love you. It's that I'm focused on building something for both of us. And so I'm a young man, and I'm new in my career, and I'm trying to get, business off the ground, or music and all these different things off the ground at that time. And I'm trying to get established. So it wasn't that I didn't want it. It's that I knew, no, I'm not ready for that.
Right.
Because I knew that there was a responsibility that I would have to step up and be not just a provider to you, but I've got to be able to provide, even though you were the breadwinner, and you were providing for your daughter already.
Yeah.
I knew that I had to have some kind of capacity to be able to step into that role, even that young.
Right. Yeah, because I didn't need you for money. I didn't need, I don't do that.
Right.
I didn't need you because I'm, I have a degree. I went to school. I like you said, I took care of my daughter and I at the time. That was something that I knew, I was proud of, but I knew that, that's just something second nature. You step up, you keep going. When the other parent is not fully there, you keep going with what you know to do. You pray and keep going, and that's what I did. So yeah, I knew that we weren't ready for marriage yet. I knew it. And when you said, where I was trying to build, you hurt my feelings and stuff, and said it was the way you said it. It wasn't so much that all you had to say was, well, babe, I'm trying to set up for the future. I'm trying to do this. But it didn't come out like that. It came out like, well, my career is first. So that's why we talk about communication all the time, because it's important to be able to know how to communicate. Now, we didn't know each other as well but I just believe that there's a certain way that you should talk to someone or say something to someone to convey how you feel, without it being something that kind of stings.
And you say that, and I'm glad you shared that, because that took time in itself. That took time to learn.
Yeah.
It's not what you say,
it's how
it's how it's said, and how it comes across.
That's
and the tone of how you say something.
Right.
It matters, especially to a woman, right?
Yeah.
And so I had to learn that. And like I and I can mean this, and I say this, but how I said it and how it came across, you can take it a totally different way.
Yeah.
And so I remember early on in us dating, I think for me, it was like, okay, this woman's 13 years older than me, right? And she's been married before.
Mm.
So sometimes I felt like I was on pins and needles because I didn't want to trigger what you had been through before, even though I did.
You did.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Even though I did. And that's the thing though, I would trigger it, but I didn't know. Like I wouldn't fully know all that you had went through. I knew bits and pieces, right? I knew what you told me.
Right. Do you believe it is because you felt like you were inadequate to meet the obligations of being a husband?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And sometimes when you feel like you're inadequate in some area, what you do is you lash out.
You lash out. You're more defensive.
You're more defensive.
Yeah.
And you were.
Yeah. And I felt inadequate because I was like, especially when we were dating.
Right.
I felt inadequate because I was like, do I have what it takes? And again, I'm taking on you and your daughter,
right?
This young girl, and I know in my mind I'm having to be this
little girl.
Yeah, I'm having to be this stand-up guy now.
Yeah,
you know. So you have to do away with the promiscuity. You have to do away with self. I'm young. It's about me. It's about my life. And now it's becoming something to where, okay, if I love this woman,
right,
then not to, and this probably an ugly word to say, or somebody would take it as being ugly, but you all came as a package.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
It didn't just come with just you. It was a package.
Right.
So now I'm having to look at this like, okay, am I in a position to be able to take this on? Right. And do I have the capacity spiritually and emotionally to be able to, I'm handling a woman who's 13 years older than me, plus her daughter who's 9, 10 years old. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to take that all on at 22, 23 or whatever, my early 20s, that was like, yeah, you're thinking, I'm thinking in my head, do I have what it takes?
Right.
Do I, and my career wasn't set up and I didn't have the money and I was, all these different things were going on. Was I fit to be able to give her something better than what she came out of? And that was constantly in the back of my head when we were dating. Yeah. It's like,
and we would talk about this, and I and again, hindsight is 2020. Mm-hmm. I think that you didn't really know how to convey that to me because I would talk to you about that, and I made the decision for my own life and for me what was best for me and for my daughter at the time was to let's go ahead and we're together. Let's go ahead and get you through school and mm-hmm. raise you. That was my complete focus because I couldn't focus on because if you remember, we're being honest, it was a lot of up and down and back and forth because we broke up.
We broke up several times. Yeah.
He wrote me a letter. He had typed it up on the computer. You wrote me a letter, brought it to the house and to my apartment, and I was like, and in my head, I was saying literally, I was like, "What kind of crap is this?"
But
I was like, "Dude, you ain't got to do all this. If you ain't trying to be here, you know what? Just chunk the dude and get out the door."
But that's the thing. It wasn't that I wasn't trying to be there. It wasn't that I wasn't trying to be there. It was that inadequacy. It was the
insecurity
and the insecurity. Yeah. It's like, can I take this on? And then, in my head, I got my boys in my head. Hey, bro, she older. She got a kid.
Yeah.
Bro, you don't need that. That's a headache, blah, 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 blah. And for me, it's a tug of war. Like, man, I love this woman. I'm growing to love her daughter. Yeah. And I want this in my life, but I'm a young man.
Yeah.
I want that quote unquote freedom.
Yeah.
I still want to go out here and do my thing. I want to set up my career. I want to set up my money, but I didn't want to lose you. Mm. And so I think the constant breakups that we had early on in our relationship stemmed from that. It stemmed from the insecurities that I had, the inadequacies that I had, but also, there were things that I know that you were still sifting out with you, in
Right.
essence.
Yeah.
That was priority for you, in
Right.
essence.
And that's why I made it priority, because there was so much inconsistency, and I knew that I needed to make, she was a priority,
Mhm.
and we were a priority, because we did go through, it was horrible,
Mhm.
for us. And, I never saw myself being divorced and going through, separation and divorce and all of that. I never saw that.
Mhm.
My parents never did that, but my dad did before my mom. He divorced and had children, with his first wife, and then my mom came along years and years and years later, and so my brother and I came along. Of course, they had us.
Mhm.
So I didn't realize that there was somewhat of a pattern,
Mhm.
and making sure, I wanted to make sure this time that somebody really loved me and they love themselves.
Mhm.
Because sometimes we talk about this all the time,
Mhm.
even off the podcast. Men are not great communicators.
Mhm.
They're not good at, communicating and getting in touch with your emotions.
Mhm.
Things happen to all of us. We go through traumatic stages and states in our lives where we don't understand that and realize that they become snowballed if we don't take care of them.
Mhm.
They
Right.
snowball from your childhood into your teens and all the way into your adulthood, and you begin to act out with those traumas, those
Right.
things that has happened to you. And so I didn't want to go any farther with something that would not be, I felt that was too much stress for me at the time. It was just too much for me and you to continue on the way we were going.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I've gone through stuff, and
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
and you had too.
Yeah.
But when in marriage and dating is two different
different levels,
things.
right,
Yeah,
yeah.
two different levels.
Mhm.
So literally coming out of that, I don't want to fail at that again.
Mhm.
And I felt like I failed,
Mhm.
because I had my daughter,
And I think the thing is, I didn't want to fail on my first go around, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I could imagine what you were feeling, having a daughter, having been married before, bitter divorce, bitter, turbulent marriage, and then coming out of that and saying, and you know what? And it's funny because before we dated, before we even met each other, it was like, and I can remember meeting this older woman. And I tell this, I'm very candid, very transparent about this.
Mm-hmm.
I remember meeting this older woman, and I met her at this restaurant, Papados. And I was with my one of my partners at the time, my boy Sonny. And I met this young lady, and I would have sworn she was every bit of maybe 27, 28. She was celebrating her birthday that night. She was turning 38. I was 21, I believe. 21, 22-ish.
This before we met.
This is before.
Okay.
This is way before we met.
Mhm.
I had no idea that this woman, you if you looked at her, you would not think she was turning 38
Wow.
at all.
Yeah.
When I met her, I believe, and if I'm not mistaken, I had gotten that prophetic word from Prophetess Peters. So again, that's me looking. Is it you? Is it you? Is it you? So I meet this woman, and we had a promiscuous relationship. It wasn't no relationship really, but it was as if the enemy had introduced me to a counterfeit of you.
Wow.
She was short like you. She was chocolate skinned like you. You had short hair at the time when I met you. She had short hair.
I didn't know that. You never told me
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Wow, really?
Beautiful woman. Like I said, you would have, if you looked at her, you would have thought she was every bit of 28 or something like that.
Wow.
I'm lying, telling her my age. Yeah, I'm 25, 27, da, da, da. I'm lying. I'm like 21 at the time. True story.
Yeah.
And it was to look back on it now, and I have over the years, it was like the enemy was sending me this counterfeit of you.
Wow.
And I remember this young lady told me something that I could have sworn she was lying. She told me she did porn.
Oh.
And I said, you lying. She told me her stage name. She told me the name of one of the films that she was in and the guy that she was with. She told me all of this. I'll never forget it. I went to one of the adult film stores in downtown Dallas. And I walked into the adult film store. And I went and looked for this tape that she was in. And I never forget, I bought it. I came home and she was in it.
Wow.
She was in it. And she was in it with the guy, famous porn star guy.
Wow.
That she's in. Now, I say that and I share that to be totally transparent on our podcast. And I've told you this before. I share that because I want people to understand what my frame of mind was as a 21, 22-year-old man that is at a tug of war with his spiritual life and what God is showing me and telling me over here, but what my flesh is fighting over here. So I don't know to look for a prayer warrior in a wife. I don't know to look for a woman who is strong in the Lord. I don't know to look for that. I'm looking for a wife. I'm looking for that compatibility. I'm looking for someone who's going to understand me. And when I look back in my life, I look at that period before meeting you, and everything wanted to derail me from meeting you, from being with you. Everything. When we even started dating, we were promiscuous. We had sex before marriage. And so I want people to know that and understand that, because sometimes we have these ideal situations that we've kind of planned out things in our head. Oh, I'm going to be celibate and she's going to be celibate and we're going to do this and we're going to do things God's way and da 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 da. And with us, no, that wasn't the case.
No.
You know, and that's not something that we're proud of, but it is the truth. It's not something, you know, we wouldn't be able to say to our grandkid, yeah, we saved ourselves for marriage, y'all. And, you know, on that honeymoon night, you know, it was awesome. And no.
No, that's not everybody's story.
And that's not everybody's story.
No.
Our story is we was freak nasty.
Let's see.
Straight up. This is the love show.
He want to go.
We was freak nasty.
See, that's why us older folks have to.
She was a cougar. She was feeling your boy. I'm a young man, and I got things to prove. I say that in all.
The best guy.
I say that in fun.
Yeah.
I say that in fun. But I say that because people need to understand that we also had to come to terms with that, because things in our relationship was crumbling.
Yes.
Because of that premarital sex.
That's right.
And that fornication.
But we knew better.
And we knew better.
We even though we come from two different worlds, when you say, you know, I'm from the country, you're from the city, we knew better. Our parents didn't raise us like that.
Right.
We knew better.
Right.
You know, and that's why everything was crumbling.
And to know better and not do better.
Yeah. Right.
You know, the consequences of that are even worse.
Right.
And so we were going through some real raw dog rough patches because we knew better and we wouldn't do better. And I think when we went through the marriage counseling, to get married.
Mm-hmm.
After proposing, it was like, okay, after I proposed, it was like, okay, well, we need to back the carb off the curb and get this thing right.
Right.
And when we did that and we honored one another and we honored God, we said, okay, we got to stop the sex. We got to cut out the sex. We got to cut out this, and this. And it was hard.
Yeah.
Like,
because we loved each other.
Because we love each other, right? And I'm in my head, I'm checking off the list. I got the list. I got the 4-page letter in my mind. And I'm saying, man, she checks off the boxes on this, especially on paragraph 3, section 2. She checks off all them boxes.
No, what he talking about with the paragraph 3, section 2.
Oh,
Y'all, this was set up.
Section 2. Does she throw that thing? Does she throw that thing right? See? Check off. You know. So does she drop it like it's hot when it's hot? Check off. You know. That's
see what I go through. This is.
But I'm just saying, as a young man, that was in my head, right?
Okay.
And so
that wasn't in my head.
But I share that because there are a lot of young people that prayerfully will watch this,
right?
And they don't get the help that they need, going into a marriage or going into a relationship, because they don't get relatable, transparent, real people,
right?
Especially
that would be honest about how they really met and how their relationship really was. Because not everyone, even our parents, a lot of our parents, they didn't
wait till marriage. No.
And most of the people, even people that are in church,
right?
They did not.
And so when you have a lot of faith-based couples that say, well, you know, you need to wait till marriage. Okay, well, did you?
Right. And they never say that they did or
not.
And
they never tell you the truth. And so what we want to do here on this podcast, on this platform, is to say, yes, we're people of faith. Yes, we knew better and didn't do better.
Right.
Yes, we fell off completely.
Yes.
But first of all, I would tell anybody who's dating right now, if you can abstain from it, abstain from it.
Yes.
Don't do it, right?
Yes.
Because there's so many, not just spiritual consequences, but there's even physical consequences that will come down the line with doing that way before you're in covenant with one another. And so I share that and being candid because, again, so many young people, you know, they burn it, right? They want to, hey, the box is hot, and they want to get what they got to get. Right. I get it because I was there. Yeah. And so I'm not finna pretend with people, and we're not going to sit on this podcast and pretend with people that we didn't do this and this and this.
Right.
No, we did. But if there's a better way, and we know that there's a better way now, then we would tell people, no, there's a better way to abstain from this, to save yourself for one another until the marriage bed. Then do that.
Yes.
Please do that.
Yes.
Please. Because you don't want to go through some of the same crap that we went through unnecessarily.
Right.
That we could have both saved ourselves from going through had we not, you know, made that a part of our relationship so early on.
And once we did back the car off the curb and we repented.
That's
right. Repent means don't go back
to turn away from it.
Turn away from it. Once we did that, then we start to see the thing in life begin to get better. Mm-hmm. Things were better for us. And it wasn't our relationship. We still had some turbulences, of course, but we were still learning, you know, individually. He was learning himself and learning, you know, what you like and you didn't like, and growing. Mm-hmm. And I was learning to trust again, you know, to be with someone that, you know, I was prayerfully was wanting to be with me and love me for me and love my daughter. Mm-hmm. So we had to understand that once we repented and once we came to God and said, God, Father, we're sorry because you're more important to us than going to hell.
Right. Facts.
Fact.
Right.
You're more important to us than that, because we know now there was purpose. This is purpose. We love each other, but there's a purpose. Right. God is using both of us together and individually.
And you don't figure out that there's purpose until later on
down the line.
Right.
Right.
You don't figure out what the purpose is.
You know, you always pray for someone that, you know, you're in alignment with and all of that. Mm-hmm. But you don't know all
You
of
don't know
this.
it.
Yeah.
Right. You don't know, you don't know any of the details or any of that. You now
Right.
again, and that was on my list. I wanted someone, Lord, that they're going to back me in this, they're going to understand me in this, they're going to, help me,
Right.
with the goals and the dreams and different things, and vice versa.
And vice
Those
versa,
are things that I wanted. But you don't fully, you can't comprehend that until you are with that person.
Yes, absolutely.
And that person
right.
is then sharing their dreams
That's
with you.
true.
They're sharing the goals and aspirations that they have for their lives.
Right.
Once you start hearing that and knowing that, then things start becoming one. Right.
Yeah.
And so I think oftentimes, particularly in faith-based relationships and faith-based marriages, sometimes they're not always realistic. And I say that in love because we want people to have these perfect relationships that somehow symbolize the covenant with God. Covenants are bloody. Covenants are messy.
Yeah.
Covenants in the Old Testament were ugly. You're talking about sacrifice animals and goats and blood everywhere and knives and chunks of meat and all these different things and stuff burned at the altar.
Right.
Covenants were not pretty.
No.
You dig what I'm saying?
No.
And so I want people to understand that when you're looking to do things God's way, your flesh, your desires are going to fight that. Totally, completely are going to fight it.
Mm-hmm.
My flesh, as a kid, I grew up on pornography.
Mm.
So in my thinking of what I wanted in a wife, my brain is thinking, okay, I need what I saw in them books and videos to satisfy my flesh.
Right.
I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
Because my brain is saying, if she don't do what I saw in them books at 6 years old, if she don't do what I saw in them tapes at 11 years old, then how can she satisfy me? How can she be the one if she doesn't do those things that I grew up seeing secretly? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So those are all things that, in my thinking, I'm giving that to God and saying, God, okay, my wife can't think this is nasty because I've seen this on tape and I've seen older women do it and they did it with the person they were with. And so I want my wife to do the same thing to me.
Right. And when you have those, the wrong things, in your mind, the things that the enemy is trying to use to literally destroy you with, that's what he's trying to do. Then God has to, when he's putting two people together, he has to work on you in that area to be able to say, you can't take, I'm not going to allow you to take that in there in your marriage, because this is not healthy. This is not right.
That's it.
This is from the devil. This is evil.
And that's, that becomes,
and it destroys people's marriages.
And that's the spiritual maturity that you have to grow into.
And to say this, that's what helped destroy my first one.
Yeah.
This truth. Yeah. It was that, not because they were a bad person, it's because they saw some things that they shouldn't have saw. And they were, went through some stuff they shouldn't have gone through. It wasn't their fault. But they did not do, or did not acknowledge it to the point where they were ready to do something about it. And so you have to see that when your life is not going the way you hoped and the way it should go, and things are so hard and turbulent, you have to start sitting down and make an assessment of what is it, what's going on here, and what are the things that I need to remove or to look at that needs to be removed from me, that's going to potentially hurt me and the person that I want to be with in the end, because it will destroy you and it will destroy your marriage.
And I think when you give that to God, right? And again, when you start growing spiritually and maturing spiritually, you give that to God. Because again, had somebody told me and sat me down in my 20s and said, okay, yeah, you wrote this 4-page letter to God and it was all good and it was all gravy, but your ways are not my ways and your thoughts are not my thoughts.
That's right. That's
right?
right.
I
Yeah.
know the plans that I have for you, plans to prosper you and give you hope in the future,
Right.
right? I'm thinking, oh, okay, well, yo, God, come in line with what I want and my plans and what
Right.
I want in a wife, and we Gucci.
Mm-hmm.
And God is like, no, Landon,
No.
that's not how this works over
Right.
here. I
Yeah.
know what I have for you.
Right.
Right. Now, I will take into consideration what it is that I know that you desire.
Correct.
I'm not going to send you this booger wolf over here that look like, Mighty Joe Young. No, I'm gonna give you somebody that's beautiful for you, that you're going to be attracted to, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So I think what people need to understand is that when we ask God, Lord, send me a spouse, send me my wife, send me my husband, whatever, we have to be able to make room for what we know he knows we need.
That's right. That's right.
And it takes a lot of maturity to ask with that in mind.
Right.
Is that, God, you know who I need. God's not going to send you somebody that he knows you're not going to be attracted to.
That's right. And I think that's the fear with a
And
lot
that is the fear.
of people.
That is
right.
the fear.
That is the fear.
That is the fear.
They
There's
think
a lot of
that-
they think
yeah.
God's going to just send me somebody busted.
Right.
Oh,
They-
she can pray, but man, she looked like Attila the Hun. And I think people
Right.
think God ain't considering
Right.
that this person is going to be someone who's
Yeah.
physically and sexually attracted to
Right.
them.
Don't send me Leah.
Right.
Right. Rachel's yeah.
Yeah.
But Leah, I don't want Leah.
Right.
You know?
And right. I mean, Leah looking two directions at one time. So, and Rachel, bang, boom, pow.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
God, but what Jacob didn't know, and
Yeah.
you use that example, what Jacob didn't know, bro, I'm trying to get a whole tribe through you.
A whole tribe.
I'm trying to get a nation through you.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And you worried about this woman being cross-eyed over here. No, I know what you got. I know what you're gonna need.
Yeah.
And so we have to be willing to trust God.
Yeah.
To say, okay, Lord, you know what I want, you know what I desire. You put that desire in me.
Right.
But then some of that sexual stuff is going to take maturity. It's going to take, okay, you know what, Lord? That's a stronghold that I need.
Yeah, help in.
That's an addiction that I need help in.
Yeah.
And I can't expect my wife to fulfill this stronghold that I have.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
That's right.
And that right there in itself takes a lot of maturity.
A lot.
And so, you guys, we're going to keep the conversation going a little bit longer. Don't go nowhere.
Don't go anywhere.
Living More with the Morgans. Stay tuned. It doesn't matter what they call you. What matters is what you answer to. Landon Sheree. All right, you guys, and we're back with more Living More with the Morgans, and we're going to get ready to close the show out. But we've been having a good conversation for Love Day, and I think we really wanted to convey a little bit about us, and so that you guys can kind of really know how things have come to be in our relationship and our marriage. And quite honest, like we've been saying, it wasn't all roses.
No.
Even though we got roses and everything behind us, it wasn't all roses. It wasn't all sunshine and daffodils. It wasn't always peaches and cream. And I think realistically, people need to understand that there are going to be bumps in the road. There are going to be storms in the way. And a lot of the storms came from us. It wasn't outside influences. It wasn't the devil and all this different stuff. A lot of the storms were because I wanted things my way. You wanted things your way. And I think it takes time when you are bridging two people's lives together to become one. You have your set of principles and how you were raised and your upbringing. I have mine, and that takes time to mesh.
It does.
It takes time to become one. And so I want people to understand, is that just because you sign your name on the dotted line on that marriage certificate, or you consummate that marriage on that honeymoon, doesn't mean that you're going to become one that at that moment.
Right. That's right.
It's the becoming of one.
Right.
And becoming can take years.
Right.
Right? Becoming can take the lifetime of that marriage.
Right.
And so,
and you have to make sure that you get help along the way.
Yeah.
If you really want your marriage to work, you need to find someone, counseling, therapy, all of this, whatever you need, someone that don't know anything about you, but someone that can help you professionally sort things out. And we have done that many times. So that we can help sort some things out and get an understanding of where the fork in the road is.
And not even just the therapy and counseling collectively, but individually.
That's exactly right. I did.
You need it individually. I don't care if you drive a Honda Accord or you drive a 2026 Rolls Royce. You're going to need maintenance.
Yeah. Tune up.
You're going to need some tune-ups. You're going to need some new tires eventually. You're going to need that oil change.
Absolutely.
And so I don't care what you have. If you want this thing to last, if you want this thing to be to drive at its optimal output, you're going to have to be willing to maintain it and to put in the time, the resources.
Right. And put into practice what you receive.
Right.
So many times people go to counseling, they go to therapy, they go and God bless you.
Thank you.
They go and do all these things, but they do not utilize the tools that are given to them. You have to utilize those tools, because just going every week, sitting or laying on the couch means nothing if you're not going to use the tools that will help you to see or to help you be better
and apply the tools
and apply them.
Right. So it's just like with anything. What's the purpose if you're getting a word at a church, but you're not going to apply it to your life?
Absolutely.
Right? If you're going to school and you're getting the curriculum, but you're making it applicable. To what you can do to utilize it to advance yourself.
Right.
And so everything that you get the maintenance so that you can put the car back on the road.
Right.
Right. You put you put it there in the shop and you take it to professional so that the car can do what it was supposed to do, be put on the road to run for you.
Right.
And that's the same thing that people need to understand when it comes to marriage, is that you're going to go through that turbulence. I don't care if you got the biggest, baddest airplane, 777, 787, whatever.
Right.
That airplane, when it comes back down, it's going to need a mechanic in that engine, in those engines, on those wings, in that cockpit. It's going to need work so that it can go back in the air and function the way that it was intended to be.
And you're going to go through all types of turbulence. Okay. Losing parents.
Yes.
Okay. Financially.
Yes.
Business wise, losing friendships. It can be a lot of different things, and you have to make sure that your relationship is structured and is tight.
Yeah.
Because if not, those things can come and literally wash you out.
And those are the things I think a lot of times people don't plan to happen.
Right. No one does.
And they think they're exempt from, hey, that's not going to happen to us.
No.
We're not going to go through financial struggles because, she makes six figures and he makes six figures and we're going to be good. And so they don't plan for that. And so they go to the altar and they have the 30-second vows exchanged or whatever, and they say for better or for worse. But do they mean that?
Right.
Do they mean that when worse comes?
Right.
And worse, like you said, can come in the form of losing parents.
Right.
Losing loved ones and friends, losing a house, filing for bankruptcy,
losing jobs,
in a bad economy.
Right.
So many things can happen.
So many things.
And so we have to prepare, because I think the thing of it is that we think marriage is the wedding.
Right. And it's not.
And it's not, family.
No.
It's not the wedding.
Mm-mm.
The wedding is the ceremony that
Right.
says, I love you, you love me, and we're going to attempt
Right.
to make this thing something that lasts.
That is
That's
only 30 to 45 minutes,
right.
maybe an hour.
Maybe an hour. And that's what people are paying all this big money for. But that's the wedding. That's not the marriage.
Right.
The marriage is what gets down to the nitty-gritty.
Right.
The marriage is when can we handle each other's insecurities when they come up?
Yes.
Can we handle spats and arguments and disagreements?
Right. Right.
Can we handle them in a way where it doesn't tear up the engine?
Right.
It doesn't tear up the vehicle.
Right.
It simply says that, oh, okay, the check engine light is on. Let's not throw away the car. Let's get the engine looked at.
That's right. That's right.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And so we're not ready to trade it in.
No.
It's not on its last leg.
No.
It's just that the engine needs to be checked.
That's
and this
right.
engine is built to last if you take it to the manufacturer, if you take it to licensed professionals who know what they're doing on that vehicle.
That's right.
Meaning people who pray, meaning people who are spirit filled, that are trained to be able to help you in what it is that you have built and what you need to maintain.
Right.
Right. I'm just using an analogy of a car.
Right.
And so I want people to really understand is that this was not easy. It hasn't been easy. We didn't think it was going to be easy.
No.
But we did understand that it was something, and we've come to the understanding that it is something that we have to constantly work on.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it was anger and resentment and the bitterness of what I thought I should have gotten.
Right.
That I felt like, oh, I didn't get this. I should have gotten this.
Right.
Or my
betrayal. Yeah. A lot of betrayal. Yeah.
A lot of people who, I mean, they not only stabbed you in the back, they took the knife out your back and showed you that they stabbed you in the back with the knife.
Right.
And then flashed the knife in front of your face and said, yeah, I did it. So going through those seasons, going through seasons where people have, I mean, just slandered our character, slandered who we are, you know, have tried to sabotage, you know, the things that we've put our hands to, sabotage our businesses, sabotage, you know, our characters in such a way that you would be like, really, you?
Right.
You would do this. And so those are things that I think people aren't ready for, or they're not being told to be ready for when it comes to marriage. And especially, babe, especially if you got a marriage that God has put together.
You have to protect that.
That's what a lot of people are missing. When God has put something together, he says that let no man tear it asunder.
No.
Let no man come between it.
Right.
And so the witches and warlocks are going to be after you when God has put something together.
Right.
If you just got a little marriage and y'all, okay, you probably not getting no attacks.
Mm-mm.
But if you got a covenant that God has put together, for real, oh man, the arrows are coming. Now you're protected. That's not grounds to be concerned.
Oh, no.
And they're like, oh, we're being attacked and we're being this and this and this.
Right.
No, you learn and you get an understanding.
Right.
Why is this thing being attacked so much like it is?
Right. Right.
Right. Why are so many? Why did you have issues with not just friends but a couple of family members too in the joining of this union? Right. All those things, God says, don't let nobody tear it asunder. Let no man come between it.
That's right.
And that takes growth.
It does.
That takes maturity. That takes learning, and that takes time.
It takes time, and it takes the realization that you do have these issues, and they have to be addressed.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, babe, not to be afraid. Those who might watch this and who are looking to get married and all of that, we're just giving you the reality, excuse me, of life. Of marriage is not 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not. whoever came up with that, that was just a lie. It's not 50-50.
Right.
It's all or none.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You give your all, she gives her all.
Mm-hmm.
It's all or
All
none.
of it, right.
And you have to understand that. And when attacks come and when things come, and things will come, it's life. You have to have that foundation
Mm-hmm.
that's going to hold you both together. You have to be willing to look at each other as partners, not as someone that is an enemy to you.
Mm-hmm.
When things are happening to you or happening in your marriage or happening around you, you have to get closer, and and it does bring you closer if you allow it to.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be ready for all of this and mature enough to know that it can work. But you're going to have to work it. You can pray all day, God, help me, help this to work and make this work. No, He's going to give you the tools and the ability to help you to make it work. So what we're saying is it works, but it must be in alignment,
right,
with the way that God wants it to be.
right,
This is for covenant marriages and covenant unions and relationships.
right.
It must be in alignment. And like we were saying initially, we had to back the car off the curb because we knew better. Even though there was things that you went through in your life that you were still struggling with, there was things that I was still kind of struggling with in my life. I didn't go through the pornography stuff, none of that, anything like that. But being rejected from your first marriage, you know, going through that, you know, I had dated and stuff and had boyfriends and all of that, of course. But I had issues with, you know, anger too. You know, I give all of myself and someone just throws it back at me. Well, I'm looking at you upside the head like, okay, how can I get rid of you? You know, physically. So I had to deal with my issues, my anger issues, and my insecurity in those areas. So it works. You know, we had to come together. We had to mature. You had to mature. I had to mature. We had to say, this right here is more important than me keeping my anger, me keeping my insecurities, me keeping my, you know, jealousy or frustration or being bitter. All of that means nothing.
Right.
This means everything.
Everything, right. Very well said. And I think that prayerfully people will hear this and they'll see that nothing that we've said today is contrived. Nothing is, for us, everything is on the table. Because we find that relatability is what helps people. If you're able to relate and you're approachable and you're real about it. Keeping it real is not out here cussing and rolling your neck and yeah, I'm real and I'm this and that. That's not keeping it real.
No.
Keeping it real means I'm willing to relate to you or convey to you that these are the consequences of what will likely happen if you continue in this kind of behavior and if you continue down this path. That's what keeping it real is. Is giving people a warning, but at the same time giving people hope. Genuine hope that you don't have to be afraid of marriage and you don't have to be afraid of the turbulence. See, a lot of people won't go and fly from they won't get on a plane and go fly from one destination to another because they're scared of crashes or they're scared of the turbulence. Most of the time, crashes happen due to human error that could have been prevented. Most of them. And you have more crashes on the ground than you do from airplanes. But people will take instances that they've seen or situations that they've seen from others, and they'll say, oh, I'm not going to go through that. I'm not going to do that because I've seen this end up in that. So that means you'll never get in a car again. Because when I drive down the highway, I see accidents all the time on the side of the road. But that doesn't stop me from getting in my car and going
Right.
from point A to point B.
That's right.
And so that shouldn't stop you from wanting to enter into a covenant relationship with a person that you are willing to give your heart and your life to, if you do it with God. Will there be turbulence? Absolutely. But the plane was built for turbulence.
That's right.
It was literally manufactured with turbulence in mind. So the plane can withstand the turbulence.
Right.
But after it comes down after the turbulence and back on the ground, it may need a little bit of tender love and care. It's going to need a little bit of maintenance so that it can go up into the altitudes that it was created and built for.
Right.
But if you don't put the resources and the time and the effort and the maintenance into that engine, you'll never get that plane up in the air like it was intended to do.
Right.
And so with any marriage, any relationship that we find ourselves in, if we're going to include God in it, the manufacturer of that plane,
Yes.
oh, he knows how it's built.
Yeah.
He knows what's in the components. He knows what's in both engines.
Yeah.
He knows what's in those wings. And we got to trust him that he's going to take what it is that he's given us, this covenant, knowing how he's built it to last, and go to him so that it can be put back in the air to get to the destinations that it is ordained to go.
Right. And as we are learning to put first things first, which is God and in the relationship, and when you're going through the turbulence, don't lose sight of the love. Don't lose sight of the romance. Okay? We've gone through that. Don't lose sight of that, because if you do, and I'm talking to those that are faith-based people, if you do, the enemy was sure to come. He's sure to come.
Absolutely.
And he will make you look up, and you'll be roommates instead of being husband and wife.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
So make sure that you are dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's.
Absolutely.
This is so important, because we have gone through this. We've dealt with this.
Absolutely, man.
And we want you guys to last. We want you guys. We're 12 years this year in it, June the 28th. No, it hasn't been easy, but I know, and my husband can attest to that, it's gotten so much better.
Light years better. Yes.
So much better.
And it got better when we let go of some of the baggage that we came into it with.
Yes.
Some of the mistrust, some of the bitterness and the anger, some of the expectations, known and unknown.
Known and unknown, right.
And letting our guards down individually with certain things that we probably had been through in the past. And I think once we started doing that, and again, including God in everything, in every decision.
Right. Every decision.
It's like, okay, God, what you think? What you say?
Right.
What's your word on this?
We thought we were doing it, we weren't doing it enough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. Going to him first, like, okay, what you say about this?
That's right.
Because if daddy says no, it's no.
No. Yeah.
And so I think when we started doing that and getting clarity on things, then things started getting better. But you said something that was vital and it's important.
Yes.
And I definitely want to leave the people with this.
Yes.
Romance is the lubricant. It is the oil in the engine.
Yeah.
And you better keep that engine and those parts in that engine lubricated. And romance does that.
That's true.
Because if you burn that engine out and you burn them parts out, the whole vehicle, the whole plane, it's going to be hard to replace that bad boy. And so as we celebrate Love Day, The world has designated a day for love, when truthfully, every day needs to be a day of love. Every day can be a day of romance for those of us that are married. Every day can be a day that we show one another that I love you.
Yes.
There's a song that Stevie Wonder has, beautiful song, says these 3 words.
Yes.
When was the last time that someone heard you say, I love you? You don't have to wait till February the 14th. You don't have to wait until you're at someone's funeral or you're celebrating a holiday at Christmas or Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Every day is a day
Every day.
where we can take out the time to show the people around us, known and unknown, that I love you.
Yes.
And especially to spouses. I don't have to wait till February 14th when everything is red and pretty and beautiful around and people are spending money to say that I love you. We didn't spend no money on each other. We didn't go anywhere special. But we had to find a way, our way, in which we both communicate to one another as that, babe, I love you. And when you can do that every day, all day, when I wake up in the morning and my wife is fixing me breakfast or making some coffee, she said, I love you, without having to say it. And she still says, I love you. The same with me. When we pray together, we do our devotion together, and we do that. That is our communion with one another.
Yes.
That is our alone time with the Father to say, Pops, we love you. We know you love us.
Yeah.
But this is our time to tell you and show you, Daddy, we love you. So you don't have to wait until a designated holiday or a special day to say, I love you. Do it now. Pick up the phone and call your mom, if they're still here, your father, your brother, your sister, your uncle, auntie. Pick up the phone and just say, I was thinking about you and I love you. Even if y'all haven't talked in years, send a text.
That's right.
Send a voicemail. But send something that shows that you love them. You guys, thank you, as always,
Thank you
for tuning in to Living More with the Morgans. If you would, hit that subscribe button. We want you to be a part of the fam. We don't have fans. We don't have followers. We got family.
Yes.
And we want family.
Yes.
Join the conversation. Hit us up on our social media platforms. You can visit us at our website, www.livingmorewiththemorgans.com. And if you listen to this podcast, you can find us on these platforms below. Let's spread more love, y'all. There's plenty to go around. And there's a lot of people that could show enough use it right about now. Until next time, you guys, be blessed.
Be blessed. We love you.
Love you guys.